Hello, this is Miss Anderson.
And Miss Donaldson.
Welcome to our next edition of our video lessons. We're so happy to have you here today. Let's do a very quick supply check so that you are prepared for our lesson today. The first thing that you need is the assignment Tuck 3, Context Clues Part 1, Extension. You need something to write with. You need your Tuck Everlasting novel study packet, and you need your Tuck Everlasting book. Please do not move forward if you do not have any of these items to complete today's assignment. As usual, if at any time you need more time to get things together, press pause and resume playing the video when you are ready to move forward. For those of you that are ready, let's go ahead and get started. Let's take a look at the objective. Today, I will determine the meaning of unknown words through the use of context clues by answering multiple choice questions in an exit slip with at least 80% accuracy. Now, this is something that we worked on yesterday, but it is still important to assess how we think we'll do. We should not be bubbling, "I've never seen these concepts," because like I said, we did it yesterday. Figure out where you are in this range and bubble your answer. Now, let's look at number 2. Use editing marks to revise the sentence. Then write the corrected sentence on the lines below. Make your corrections, and then we'll review them. Then you'll be responsible for writing the correct sentence on the line. All right, here are the corrections for that sentence. We see that we capitalized the because it is the beginning of the sentence. Cried was spelled incorrectly. We need to change that Y to an I when we add the suffix ed into the past tense. We see that they cried out, "What are you going to give us?" And since they are speaking, we need to put that in quotation marks. Anytime we transition from text to dialogue, we put that comma before the quotation marks, and we capitalize the beginning of the dialogue and conclude with the punctuation. Since they are asking a question, we see that question word what, we put a question mark inside the quotation marks. Please go ahead and pause. Make sure that you write the entire sentence correctly and neatly on the lines below. Did you notice our new word today? Unison? Can you use context clues to figure out what the word unison means? I see that the whole class cried out. So unison probably means all of them. I'm thinking all together. If that was what you were thinking, you are right. Unison means together. Let's look at number 3. Choose the correct meaning of the underlined word. Marguerite claimed that if she became a famous actress, she would not use a pseudonym. Ooh, that's a weird word. It starts with a P, but it's silent. I have 4 options. Is a pseudonym a false name, a script, an agent, or a middle initial? Go ahead and pause and answer what you think that the correct choice is. When you're ready to move forward, unpause. Now let's look at what you responded. Using context clues, I see that she would not use a pseudonym. Her pseudonym is related to being a famous actress. That's my clue here. I also see that her name is Marguerite. Let me see. Could it be a false name? Marguerite claimed that if she became a famous actress, she would not use a false name. That seems to make sense, but I'm going to check the other answers. If she became a famous actress, she would not use a script. Oh man, you can't be an actress and not use a script. That just doesn't make sense. I'm going to delete that choice. Marguerite claimed that if she became a famous actress, she would not use an agent. That could make sense, but there's a secret clue hidden here. Remember that when we say a, we're not going to see an verb after it, like agent. We would change this to an agent. That's a clue, but it's not enough for me to totally eliminate agent as a possibility. Marguerite claimed that if she became a famous actress, she would not use a middle initial. That's an interesting choice, but they don't really mention anything about middle initials here, so I am skeptical of this answer. I'm going to kind of half delete it. Let me see what other context clues I have for this. Pseudonym. Sounds like Sudafed, but they're definitely not talking about allergy medicine. How could I solve this? Well, I know that a lot of famous actresses and actors use fake names. I have a feeling that that might be what they're talking about here. So I'm going to say that if she became a famous actress, she would not use a false name. That's what I'm going to go for here. And if I got this A, then I would be correct. If you were able to solve that on your own, or if you'd like to synthesize what I shared, for bonus points, respond how you knew that pseudonym is a false name. Number 4, respond to the following question using a complete sentence. Have your parents ever used their power of persuasion to convince you to do something? Describe. Notice, we've changed this up a little bit. Today you're going to practice writing a complete sentence, not a power 1. Go ahead and write your complete sentence, and when you're ready to move forward, unpause.
You are now ready to move on to direct instruction. Direct instruction says match context clues and the different kinds of context clues with their definition as a review. So let's review. We have context clue, definition, explanation, synonym, antonym, and inference. Notice that that's the definition. We're looking for the definition of a context clue and the 5 different types of context clues that we learned yesterday. The definitions we can choose from. A, the word is defined in the sentence. B, the author explains the meaning of the word in the sentence. C, hints the reader uses to discover the meaning of unknown words. And D, using clues and your own knowledge to infer or guess the meaning. E, a word that has the opposite meaning. And F, a word that has the same meaning. Go ahead and at this time, draw a line from the word to its matching definition. Please push pause and attempt this on your own. Thank you. Okay, go ahead and check your answers just to make sure you understand the correct definition for each of the different types of context clues that we went over yesterday. Let's go ahead and move on to guided practice. For guided practice, we're going to read each sentence and replace each nonsense word with an appropriate word using context clues. We're going to do the first 2 together. Number 1, the thought of eating a rat is crunky to most people. So we already have identified the nonsense word, crunky. What word do you think, looking at the rest of the sentence, would make sense to replace it with?
Delicious.
Okay, someone said delicious. Is eating a rat delicious? I don't know. I want to think about how people feel about rats. This says most people. Well, maybe one person finds eating a rat delicious. I think most people would not find eating a rat delicious. What would most people think eating a rat is? Probably not delicious. What would be an antonym, which we look up here, is a word that has the opposite meaning, B, of delicious.
Disgusting.
Excellent. Let's put disgusting, if Miss Donaldson can spell. Disgusting. All right, let's see if that word makes sense in our sentence before we move on. The thought of eating a rat is disgusting to most people. Excellent. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Number 2, my flim-flip teacher loses his keys, his books, and his chalk almost every day. Oh my goodness, this teacher sounds like a hot mess. What should we replace the word flim-flip with?
Stupid.
Okay, my stupid teacher loses his keys, his books, and his chalk almost every day. When I think of that word stupid, I think of someone who's not very smart. Do you have to be smart to not lose your keys, your book, and your chalk? No, that's not really a quality of stupid, right? So you don't really have to, it doesn't matter what you know or don't know whether you lose something. So what would be a good word if you lose something? Okay, we're looking at maybe a synonym, right, for this word loses. My flim-flip teacher loses his keys, his books, and his chalk almost every day. This is another clue. Almost every day. Wow, this teacher. What is a good adjective to describe this teacher who loses his keys?
Forgetful.
Good. Okay, forgetful. Let's go ahead and write that down. Forgetful. Let's see if that would work. My forgetful teacher loses his keys, his books, and his chalk almost every day. Yes. Okay. When you lose something, you're forgetting. You might be forgetting where you put it, right? So that is a word that is similar. Maybe it wasn't a synonym, but we use these context clues to help us figure it out. Moving on to independent practice. You can see that there are 5 more sentences with nonsense words. I would like you to replace each nonsense word with an appropriate word using context clues completely independently. Go ahead and push pause and complete the next 5 on your own. Sorry.
We hope that you understand context clues a little bit better. There's something that you're going to see on the CSTs a lot, and so we're going to start practicing them quite a bit more regularly in class. Once you've finished your practice, it's time to do the exit slip. Remember that you really need to try your best on this. We want to see if you've mastered today's skill. Complete these 5 multiple choice questions on your own. Remember that the goal is to get 4 or more correct in order to get full credit for today's assignment. Once you've completed the exit slip, it's time to move on to Tuck Everlasting. I can't wait to find out what is happening next. Now, this is a little bit tricky. If you're in Miss Donaldson's class, you're going to click on a separate link than if you're in Miss Antonson's class. And this is just depending on what chapters we've left off on. So now that you've completed your work, you're ready to turn it in, it's time to move on to Tuck. Let's see what happens next.